Hi there, and thanks for checking out Poseit. Poseit is a tool that combines some of the concepts used today in computer graphic animation characters rig, but that takes advantage of our touchscreen mobile devices rather than trying to mimic a keyboard and mouse kind of interface. The result is a very fast posing method that is based on a couple of fundamental concepts that you need to know to have a quick and fast posing experience. And this is what this video is about. Okay, enough with the introduction, let's jump right into it. First, let's see how to navigate the scene. To orbit around the model, just drag with one finger. To pan, drag with two fingers. To get closer or further away, use the pinch gesture. So far so good, pretty standard. This guy is Adam. Adam should have his body parts quite clearly defined, which is important for drawing the composition and selection purposes. If you have none of these parts selected, you will control the camera. To select, simple enough, tap a body part. To deselect, tap an empty space. Once you have something selected, you will see this gizmo appearing on it. You can rotate the body parts in the same way you rotate the camera. You will rotate by dragging with one finger or twisting with two. By the way, the arrows on the gizmo also reflects these kind of rotations, see? You will translate using two fingers drag, and you will bring them closer or further away from you with the pinch gesture. The first main concept in Poseit is that you can perform your gesture anywhere on the screen. This is true for the camera, for the mannequin body parts, lights, props, and so on. No need to carefully touch the arrows or any axis. The whole screen is your input area. Now, did you notice that the body is rotating differently even if I'm using the same vertical kind of gesture? Like if I do this movement from this point of view, the model bends forward. If I do it from the side, it bends sideways. This is because in Poseit, everything works in screen space, which is a fancy way to say that things moved based on your point of view. I made this simple scene to illustrate this very fundamental concept of Poseit. Imagine you have a marble floating in space. To make it spin, you would probably use this kind of gesture, right? And to make it twist or spin along the camera axis, you would probably use this kind of gesture instead. Now imagine the body part is attached on this marble. It doesn't matter which direction the body part is facing. The thing you are moving is actually the marble. It will always rotate and move based on your point of view. Try it, it's very straightforward once you get a hang of it. Okay, now that we know how to interact, you need to know what can be rotated and what can be also translated. That will be shown by the selection gizmo. If the gizmo shows these four little triangles around, that means you can also translate the selected body part. In Poseit, some body parts have some special behavior to speed up the posing process. For instance, head and shoulders can be dragged. This is a fast way to avoid orienting the neck and the clavicle separately. Elbows and knees we rotate along one axis only, since they are hinge joints. So if you want to rise or lower an elbow, you need to rotate the humerus, which is exactly what happens in our bodies. The hip will move the whole model because, like in 99% of the cases in computer graphics, the human skeleton has this hierarchical structure where the hip is the root and then all the other body parts will branch out of it, like the legs and the spine that will branch again into the arms and so on. So yes, the root will propagate its movement to its children will propagate their movement to their children, and so forth. This is called forward kinematic. Sometimes though, it happens that you want the appendix of a limb, like a hand or a foot, to be in a specific location, and moving its parents and grandparents to get there is not the optimal solution. That's when we use what is known as inverse kinematic. We move the child, and the parent and grandparent will figure out the right angle to make it go there. Same thing goes for the feet. You will notice that also knees and elbows have the draggable gizmo. You can drag to specify where the elbow needs to point at, and again the upper arm will rotate to reach the target. The target in this case is represented by this little sphere. So long story short, if you see four little arrows around the gizmo, it means you can drag the body part. Otherwise, only rotation. Okay, this is the core of Poseit. On top of that, there are a number of automations and features that can help you get the perfect reference for your artworks very quickly. For instance, one thing that helps a lot is this locking feature. If you tap this button here, you will lock the selected body part, which means it will no longer obey the rotation of its parents. Or more simply put, will try to maintain its current orientation. For instance, I know that for the pose I have in mind, his head will have to look forward. So I'm going to lock the head in his current orientation and keep working on the pose. And the head will keep looking in the same direction. In the case of hands and feet, if you lock them, they will not only maintain their orientation, but they will also use inverse kinematics to stay pinned in place. See? Bringing the ball joint of the feet to the ground level will trigger an automatic alignment of the tip, very useful for this kind of positions. Also, about the feet, you can enable this sticky feet feature that will have the feet stop at the ground level and stick there until you release your touches. From this button here, you will enter the light editing mode. This arrow shows you the current light direction, and you can rotate it in the same way you rotate the body parts. And if you toggle this button, you will edit the second light. The slider will change the intensity of the active light. From this button here, you will make the light direction independent of the camera. See how the lights will always come from the left, for instance, in this case, of the screen. If you unlock them, they will behave consistently with the model and not with the camera. From this button, you can change the camera angle view to have more or less perspective distortion. And from these buttons here, you can save your preferred camera angles into this camera bookmarks slot. Hold to store the current view and tap to recall it. By default, the camera tries to stay straight up, but by tapping this, you are also able to tilt it to create this kind of Dutch angle shot. From this button here, you can access the pre-made poses gallery and also access your personal gallery of poses or scenes. Tap this button to save the current scene in a new save slot, or tap an existing one to overwrite it or to load it. You can also add a second mannequin or switch the last mannequin you have interacted with, in this case with Eve, the female mannequin. From this button here, you access the props gallery instead. Props can be attached to body parts and they will behave like children of that, meaning they will follow the transform of that body part. Some of them are flex props, which means they have a special slider that allows them to change in shape like this cape. Other props are meta props, which means they can be articulated, a bit like mannequins, but without all the sophistication of inverse kinematics and so on. Others are both, like the horse. If you made a change to a meta prop and you want to reset the part to its original state, you can tap this button here, or you can hold it to reset all the parts that make the meta props. From this button here, you change the parent of the prop. This one deletes it, and this one lets you enter scale mode. You can scale it either proportionally with this slider here, or on a single axis. In this case, you need to align your pin gesture to one of the axes. This one This one is tricky. Basically makes the prop kind of magnetize the inverse kinematics limb he's in close proximity with. Okay, practical example. You have this rifle pose here. The rifle is parented to this hand, right? Now, if you want to adjust the aim, you have to, in theory, first move the hand that holds the rifle, and then it means you also have to adjust the other hand. If you instead enable the magnet function, the rifle gets unparented, like under the hood, and actually controls both the hands because they are close to him. At this point, moving the rifle moves both hands and make the aim adjustment much easier. It's yellow because at the moment it's still in an experimental state. Sometimes might make the app behave a bit weirdly, especially when combined with undo and redo. I usually use it for small tweaks and then disable it. This button here shows the options. Sticky feet, we know. You can disable the info text, which is this one here. Very useful, by the way, if you don't know exactly what to do. This one automatically hides the UI after some seconds of no interaction. Fast interaction mode is for all devices. It decreases the render quality to boost performance during the posing process. Then the render quality goes up again after a few seconds of no interactions. The sensitivity sliders, because some devices, especially on Android, have a much different sensitivity from the one I own, or in case you want to have a higher degree of control, so make much finer movements, you can decrease the sensitivity. And with this one, you save images with a transparent background. This will enter grid mode, from which you can enable it, scale it with a pinch, or position it with the 2 fingers drag. This one takes a screenshot. And this is just undo and redo. I guess that's it. Please keep in mind Poseit is a constant work in progress basically. I try to update it as often as possible, but between my day job and family, my free time can change a lot. I want to thank all the wonderful people that supported this project, not only with donations, but also with a kind review or a positive feedback. Thank you guys.